X-Men the Animated Series was by far one of the greatest animated shows they ever produced. I mean, in my humble opinion, I would place it in the top 5. While you may agree or disagree with me, you will have to believe that Wolverine played a pretty crucial part in the show, and without his awesome arcs, X-Men would not have been what it is today. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the 8 best episodes from the 90's X-Men the Animated Series that focused on Wolverine and let him shine through brighter than the sun. But before I begin, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons. Those 2 small clicks from you will help us tremendously in bringing you more of these marvelous videos. And now, let's begin. 1. Weapon X, Lies and Videotape, Season 3, Episode 19. Wolverine's past comes back bloody. In X-Men the Animated Series, Season 3, Episode 19, Logan's past resurfaces with a vengeance. Haunted by fragments of memories, he recalls a savage attack by Sabretooth at a cabin he once shared with Silver Fox. The memory pushes him through layers of trauma. Creed attacked him on his birthday and left Fox bleeding. Needless to say, years of buried trauma pushes Logan close to the edge. He immediately leaves the mansion, unaware that Beast follows in secret. Logan heads to the Weapon X facility in Canada. Inside the rusting lab, his memory sharpens. He sees flashes of the adamantium procedure, the brutal reconditioning of his body and mind, as well as the blood-stained training he was forced to undergo. Beast catches up and tries to anchor him, but the past isn't done yet. Sabretooth shows up too, thinking Logan lured him there. Before the two can finish their fight, Maverick and Silver Fox appear. Logan freezes. He believed Creed left them for dead during a mission with Omega Red. Turns out they survived, and Fox wants answers. Together, they uncover tapes from the Weapon X program. The tapes reveal that a man known as the Professor experimented on them, rewrote their memories, and turned them into living weapons. Their lives, their relationships, none of it was certain. A failsafe triggers, and a deadly robot named Talos comes to life, or gets activated. Maverick's explosives destroy the first, but a second one activates. The team escapes only after the entire facility explodes, thanks to Beast's quick planning. Fox refuses to believe she and Logan were ever in love. Different lifetime, she says. Even with the truth exposed, the wounds run too deep. Maverick parts ways, and Logan and Beast head home, carrying more questions than answers. Interestingly, the robot Talos is based on the comic character Shiva, but the name was changed for TV to avoid offending Hindu audiences. The episode pulls from multiple comic arcs, including Wolverine number 48 through 50, number 61 through 64, and Marvel Comics Presents number 72 through 84. Team X flashbacks, the adamantium bonding, and even Creed's abusive childhood, referenced in Sabretooth number 1 to 4, are all part of the tangled lore this episode explores. 2. Cold Vengeance, Season 1, Episode 6. Wolverine tries to heal, but Sabretooth doesn't let go. Back at the mansion, Cyclops fumes as he paces through Wolverine's empty room. He sees it as desertion, while Jean tries to calm him down. She knows why Logan left, because of her. Scott doesn't want to hear it. Meanwhile, deep in the snow-covered wilds of Canada, Wolverine finds solitude. He skis through the cold, pausing only to breathe in the frozen air. "There's no place like home," he mutters, soaking in the silence. But that peace doesn't last. He picks up a familiar scent, Sabretooth. Logan barely has time to react before his old friend-turned-rival ambushes him from behind. Sabretooth mocks him for going soft, claiming he never would have gotten that close 10 years ago. They fight. The punches land hard. Wolverine gains the upper hand until the ice beneath them breaks. Sabretooth grabs a ledge. Wolverine drops into freezing water. Sabretooth watches from above, assuming Wolverine won't survive the cold, even with his healing factor. But Logan isn't done yet. An Inuit hunting party finds him clinging to an ice floe and pulls him from the river. They take him back to their village to recover. The elder, Puyeta, offers him shelter. Logan gets back on his feet quickly, but when he almost reveals he's a mutant, he stops. These people don't even know what mutants are. Logan becomes part of the tribe. He helps with fishing and repairs. The locals welcome him, all except one, Kiowak, a young man who resents losing the tribe's attention. One night, Kiowak sneaks off. Sabretooth finds him in the snow. He plays the role of a snow demon until Kiowak talks. Sabretooth learns where Wolverine is hiding and tells Keowak the truth about mutants and about Wolverine. Back at the village, Wolverine and the others take part in a traditional ritual. No one notices Keowak's absence until it's too late. He returns, challenging Logan to a duel. Wolverine senses something's off. In the middle of their trip out to sea, Keowak slips. Logan pops his claws, revealing the truth about himself. But it's already too late. An explosion echoes from the village. They race back only to find that the village now lies in ruins. The people are tied to an ice bridge, surrounded by explosives. Sabretooth appears, remote in hand, daring Wolverine to fight. Logan says he's done with their feud, but as you'd expect, Sabretooth isn't. He attacks. They brawl until Keowak intervenes, buying Logan just enough time to recover and knock Sabretooth out. The two cut the villagers loose and toss the detonators into the sea. Wolverine offers to help rebuild, but Puyetta says it's time to move on. They're heading to the city. Logan stays behind, silent, watching them disappear into the distance. Some ghosts, he knows, follow you no matter how far you run.
Mon Dieu, Wolverine, stop fighting us!
3. Repo Man, Season 2, Episode 5. Alpha Flight comes for what Canada thinks it owns. Somewhere in the snowfields of Canada, Wolverine stands alone, watching the sun crawl over the horizon. He's back in his homeland, but this is not homesickness. He's looking for someone from his past, Heather Hudson. But instead of Heather, it's her husband James, who now calls himself Vindicator, who shows up, along with the rest of Alpha Flight. Oh, and Alpha Flight is basically a Canadian superhero team. The reunion isn't warm, but Vindicator tells Logan he wasn't invited for a catch-up and that they want him back on the team. But if you know Logan, you know that he isn't one to be collected. He lunges at them, claws out, and ready to fight. Puck, Sasquatch, Northstar, Aurora, Shaman, Snowbird all try to bring him in. But this isn't some villain they're cornering. This is a man they used to call a friend. And Logan, for all his rage, pulls his punches. He holds back. Even when Northstar and Aurora try to fly him out like cargo, he forces them into a mid-air collision and drops into the trees. While Alpha Flight hunts for him, Logan remembers the lab, the steel, the agony, the claws bursting from his hands for the first time. He tore the place apart, then escaped into the wilderness like a wounded animal. Eventually, Shaman flushes him out of a tree, and this time, they catch him. But then, Logan is Logan, and he doesn't go quietly. "You know I won't work for you," he growls. Vindicator says it's not about orders, it's about the secret buried inside him. Logan wakes up shackled in a cold lab, staring up at Vindicator and Heather. Now, I must mention here that her mere presence cuts deeper than any scalpel. She was supposed to be different. As Logan argues with Vindicator, more memories come back. Heather and James were the ones who found him in the wild. They fed him, clothed him, taught him how to live again. They brought him into Alpha Flight. Now they're letting a man named General Chausin poke and prod him for military secrets. Chausin wants to dissect Logan, see what makes him tick, strip the adamantium out of his body if that's what it takes. But Heather flinches. Even she didn't sign up for that. She halts the procedure and walks out. Outside, Alpha Flight overhears everything. They thought Logan was back on the team, not laid out like a slab of government property. Furious, they storm the lab and free him. Vindicator still wants Logan to stay. He says Logan owes them, but Logan disagrees. They fight one last time. Logan brings him down, claws raised once again, but Heather stops him. For her sake, he walks away. But not before he issues one last warning. Next time you send someone after me, don't.
You're looking for me.
4. Lotus and the Steel, Season 4, Episode 13. Wolverine looks inward until trouble finds him anyway. Logan sits with Xavier, trying to dig through the wreckage that his mind is. It's a place where anger, pain, rage, and everything negative and traumatizing live, bundled tightly and ready to burst. But even with the professor's help, the sessions feel useless. Logan's patience thins, his voice sharpens, and he cuts the meeting short. He's done talking. He needs distance. He needs quiet. And he knows exactly where to find it. He flies to Japan. In a small village tucked into the quiet countryside, Logan reconnects with an old friend, Oku, a monk. Oku offers him something he's never managed to find in the chaos of battle: stillness. Through meditation and work, Logan starts to slow his heartbeat and steady his mind. The villagers welcome him, especially Kisara, a kind local girl. Her brother Soichi, however, isn't impressed and resents Logan's presence. But Logan doesn't take the bait. He's come here to stop fighting and not get into unnecessary brawls with the locals. But as you may expect with Logan, wherever he goes, trouble follows. And the peace, it doesn't quite last. During a walk in the woods, Logan runs into someone he hoped he'd never see again, the Silver Samurai. The armored mutant warns him to stay out of local affairs. Logan listens but doesn't reply. As soon as the samurai leaves, thugs show up in the village, demanding protection money. Obviously, this is probably what Samurai was referring to when he spoke about the village affairs. Soichi's pride flares, and in response, the gang doubles the fee. They torch Oku's temple as a warning, and Logan watches the flames, jaw clenched. He wants to act, but he remembers why he came. Back at the temple ruins, Logan weighs his choices. Then, quietly, he gets to work. Alongside the villagers, he helps rig traps through the forest to prepare for the gang's return. Meanwhile, Jubilee lands in Japan, tracking down her missing teammate. When the gang comes back, they walk straight into problems. Villagers ambush them. Traps spring. Most of the thugs go down fast. But Silver Samurai storms through. He cuts past the resistance and heads straight for Logan. This time, Logan doesn't hold back. No masks, no riddles. He meets Samurai head-on. Steel clashes with adamantium. The fight is clean, brutal, and fast. And soon enough, Logan wins. Finally, the village could breathe a sigh of relief. And before the dust could settle, Jubilee arrives to find Logan in one piece and finally ready to go home. He tells Oku his journey isn't over, but the path forward is clearer now. Logan and Jubilee leave the village behind. The fire in him still burns, but for once, he's not letting it consume him.
Let him go, Roach, or your head is shish kebab.
5. Love in Vain, Season 4, Episode 14. Wolverine vs. the Colony, Parasites, Betrayal, and One Broken Heart. In the quiet desert, Wolverine was sitting cross-legged, eyes shut, working through his usual mental storms. The calm doesn't last because behind him, a massive creature resembling a space whale slams into the earth. Logan heads toward the wreckage and soon finds something worse than the crash itself, an alien force called the Colony. Back at the mansion, Rogue kicks back in her room until Gambit comes by to flirt. Before she can send him off, she gets a call that shakes her to the core. Cody Robbins, the man she kissed years ago, the same one her powers put into a coma, has woken up. He wants to meet her in Manhattan. They reconnect, and Cody says he's found a way for them to touch without her powers draining him. Rogue faints. When she wakes up, Cody asks her to leave town with him for the weekend. She agrees and returns to the mansion to pack. The rest of the X-Men are already gearing up to help Wolverine, who was able to send out a distress call from the desert. Rogue brushes them off because she's got quote-unquote other plans. In the desert, Logan digs through the remains of the whale. He learns the colony plans to infect Earth's population with parasites that mutate people into reptilian hybrids. Rogue's vacation takes a turn when it's revealed that Cody's been working for the colony the entire time, luring her into a trap. Back with the team, Logan begins to transform. The infection spreads fast. Rogue and Cody start mutating too. The colony queen admits she only ever needed Rogue, but Logan's healing factor kicks in, purging the parasite. He lets Rogue absorb his powers to save herself, and the others recover too. Professor X communicates telepathically with the whale, and it unleashes a screech that wipes out the colony. But Cody, too far gone, stays behind. A devastated Rogue is left with Wolverine and Gambit, who try to ease the pain of yet another goodbye.
Stop in the sky!
6. A Deal with the Devil, Season 5, Episode 3. Wolverine faces the ghost of Cold War's past. Deep in the Caucasus Mountains, Russian soldiers dig up a frozen corpse. Their orders are simple, not to mishandle it. The last time this man woke up, the Soviet Union nearly didn't survive. Who is this? Well, I'm talking about Omega Red. He wakes chained inside a military base, snarling at the monitors. A government official appears on screen with a deal to retrieve a sunken nuclear submarine near Pearl Harbor, and they'll make him human again. Omega Red scoffs. He was made to fight imperialists, not work for them. But when he learns they've planted a nitrogen capsule inside him as leverage, he accepts. On one condition: Wolverine and Storm join the mission. Xavier briefs the X-Men. Wolverine resists. The last thing he wants is to be locked inside a sub with Omega Red. But the professor insists. Reluctantly, Logan agrees. As the three descend into the Pacific in a mini-sub, tensions rise. Omega Red taunts Wolverine about his lost humanity. Storm keeps the peace but warns that her claustrophobia is already setting in. They reach the wreck, where Omega Red unlocks the systems and revives the submarine's reactor. But the mission shifts fast. He rips out the nitrogen failsafe, declares his intent to seize the sub, and reveals a plan to nuke the world's biggest cities. Logan wants to strike, but Storm reminds him, one tear in her suit and she is dead. Above, Rogue and Beast hover in the Blackbird. Xavier coordinates with the Navy, prepping depth charges. Below, Omega Red stalls for time. Storm tries to talk him down. It doesn't work. Explosions shake the sub. Wolverine lunges, but Omega Red throws him off. Storm blasts him with lightning, but it barely slows him. Omega Red fires the missiles. Rogue destroys them midair before they can arm. Furious, Omega Red wraps Storm in piping. Rogue dives into the ocean, grips the sub, and bends its metal hull until it buckles. The threat is neutralized, and Storm escapes with Logan, while the mini-sub is airlifted to safety. Back at the mansion, Beast checks on Storm's claustrophobia and tells Xavier she'll be fine. Wolverine, on the other hand, it was a different story. Down in the ocean, inside the dead submarine, Omega Red opens his eyes again. Seven, Courage, Season 4, Episode 3. Wolverine watches a friend battle his demons. At Muir Island, Moira McTaggart finishes a full medical workup on Morph. Since his resurrection and escape from Mr. Sinister's control, he's been through therapy and now claims he's ready to return to the X-Men. Moira clears him, but there's a degree of hesitation that remains. Not from her, though, because she believes in him, but from Logan, who's still a bit wary of Morph. Back at the mansion, the team welcomes Morph with cautious optimism. Before they can enjoy the reunion, Cerebro flags a fresh Sentinel attack at a manufacturing plant. The Sentinels have stolen a high-strength polymer, perfect material for armor. The team preps to move out, with Morph tagging along, but Wolverine pulls Xavier aside. He doesn't think Morph should go. The Sentinels nearly killed him once. Logan fears the trauma might return if Morph sees them again, and any man or Morph who can't defend themselves will only be a liability. They head to the site. Morph catches on quick after spotting a massive Sentinel footprint, but he's not thrilled that Logan tried to shield him. However, there was hardly any time to argue because Cerebro picked up another threat. Master Mold, now just a head wired into a Sentinel base, is back. He's building a new body and needs the minds of Xavier, Trask, and Gyrick to pull it off. When Sentinels ambush them, Xavier is taken. Morph freezes. Logan sees it. The fear had only been buried deep, but it was still there. I mean, that's the thing about trauma. You can keep it at bay, but can never really erase it. Kind of like a monster that you keep caged, but cannot kill. Anyway, the team regroups and heads off to intercept the Sentinels' next move. Wolverine insists Morph stay behind. It's not cruelty, it's protection. Meanwhile, in a remote jungle, Sentinels capture Trask and Gyrick. The X-Men try to intervene but fall short. Back at the mansion, Morph hacks into the Sentinel system and finds the exact location of Master Mold's lair. Still trying to prove his worth, he flies out alone. At the Sentinel base, Master Mold starts prepping his new body and talks about stealing Xavier's powers to become unstoppable. Wolverine and the team arrive in time for a full-on clash, but it doesn't go as planned because the Sentinels swarm and the team struggles. Then Morph arrives, morphing mid-battle to outsmart the machines. He holds his own until Master Mold nearly kills him. Morph fires upward. A massive stalactite impales the AI, destroying him. Trask sets off a self-destruct to finish the job. The team escapes with seconds to spare. Back on solid ground, Morph tells Logan he's not ready, not yet. He needs time to figure things out. Wolverine doesn't stop him. He just watches him go. Quiet, respectful. He knows some battles have to be faced alone.
Try pushing me!
8. Deadly Reunions, Season 1, Episode 4. When Xavier meets Magneto, the past doesn't stay buried. After rescuing a wounded Sabretooth, Professor Xavier brings him to the mansion, hoping to treat not only his injuries, but also his fractured mind. Using the same telepathic methods that once helped Wolverine, Xavier dives into Sabretooth's subconscious. What he finds isn't pretty. He sees a cage surrounded by a furious mob hurling insults. But the crowd quickly warps into monstrous figures that attack Sabretooth. Xavier joins the psychic battle, only for everything to unravel when a demon resembling Wolverine appears. The moment that image appears, Sabretooth breaks the connection and withdraws into a part of his mind Xavier cannot reach. Xavier exits the mental link and updates the X-Men on what happened. He believes progress is possible, but only if Wolverine helps. Wolverine refuses. He reveals that Sabretooth murdered several of his friends for no reason, and he won't be part of any rehabilitation. Meanwhile, Magneto prepares his next attack. From a bank of monitors, he targets Metrochem, a chemical plant. He phases in without warning and begins destroying machinery, which only spreads chaos across the facility. At the mansion, Cerebro alerts the team. Xavier, furious, knows Magneto has no concern for human life and is baiting him. The X-Men arrive at the factory, but Magneto is disappointed Xavier didn't come himself. One by one, the team gets neutralized. He releases gas behind Cyclops, collapses a wall on Storm, and easily deflects her lightning. As the rubble falls, Storm freezes because she kinda gets caught in a traumatic memory of her childhood. Rogue tries to hold the wall but fails. She finds Storm unconscious and gives Cyclops CPR, saving him. But she accidentally absorbs his powers and blasts a hole in the factory wall, and she panics as the optic blasts surge uncontrollably. Cyclops tells her to shut her eyes. At last, Xavier arrives. He confronts Magneto directly. They debate ideology, but Magneto grows impatient and throws Xavier from his wheelchair. Xavier retaliates by filling his mind with images of war and human suffering. Rattled, Magneto flees. Rogue carries the injured Storm and Cyclops. Unable to see, she lets Xavier guide her telepathically as they return home. Back at the mansion, Jubilee checks on Sabretooth. He plays the victim until she loosens his restraints. Then he drops the act. He reveals he's been faking it all along, working under Magneto's orders. He grabs Jubilee, but Wolverine enters. Sabretooth throws her aside, and the two mutants clash. The X-Men return home to a mess. An elegant mess. Anyway, Xavier assumes Wolverine attacked without cause, but Jubilee sets the record straight. As Xavier turns to confront Sabretooth, the mutant slashes Wolverine across the chest. Jubilee fires off a plasma blast, launching Sabretooth through a wall. He escapes. The team rushes to get Wolverine to the infirmary. And that was all in this one, guys. See you in the next one. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.